before we actually get started. All right, looks like I'm waiting on Facebook, so give me just a sec.
Sure.
All right, we are all set on Facebook as well. All right, I'm going to give a chance for some people to join us. We've got Dave Carpenter joining. Good morning, Dave. Thanks for being here. Give it another minute. And there is like something going on outside my office. I'm not really sure what they're doing out there. It's like some kind of construction. So if I put myself on mute, that's just because there's a lot of noise happening out there.
I had a training that I did for Continue ED last week, and it was here in the home office, and our neighbors were taking down a tree and wood chipping. So I hear you.
Gotta love that.
You never know what you're going to get.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'll get started with just some housekeeping and welcome. So good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us today for our Westy Live welcome. I'm Jamie Chavez, President and CEO of the Westminster Chamber of Commerce. And every Wednesday, we bring you a live broadcast featuring one of our newest chamber members to introduce them and give them a chance to talk to you about their business or organization. If you are new to the broadcast, thank you for being here. We appreciate it. We encourage you to like and follow us on Facebook, and you can receive notifications for when we go live in the future. Or if you are watching on YouTube, then you can hit subscribe and also explore our previous broadcasts there. Let's see. We also offer broadcasts on Mondays, which are dedicated to city updates from our city councilors, our mayor, mayor pro tem, and other key city leaders to tell you about what's going on in City Hall. And so stay tuned to those as well. And then once a month on the last Friday of the month, we do a broadcast with Jefferson County Commissioner Tracy Kraft-Tharp. So stay tuned to those for broader county matters. As you watch the broadcast this morning, please feel free to engage with us, drop comments, ask any questions, or simply say hello in the comments section, and we will get to those during the interview. And now a very warm welcome to Carla with Ignite Counseling. Thank you for joining us today. How are you?
Thank you. I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, of course. And we've got Parker joining us. Thank you, Parker, for being here with us. All right, Carla. Well, I'm just going to turn it over to you and let you tell us about Ignite and what you all do.
Okay, thank you. So I have a group mental health counseling practice in Westminster. And actually this month we're celebrating our 4-year birthday as a group. And I founded Ignite, perfect timing right before the COVID lockdown. But I'm actually a second career person. I have a first career in business. I have a master's in business with an emphasis in HR and labor relations. And I always was trying to make that part of my career more of the whole person counseling like. And so when I dove back into graduate school and then, pursued licensure, I knew that I wanted to have a group. I wanted to serve more of our community than I could just do by myself. So right now we are at 15 employees, which is, we have 10 employees and we have 5 master's level students. So part of our licensure requirements is clinicals, basically an internship for a year. So we are an internship site, which is wonderful. And we also have a mix of pre-licensed and licensed clinicians on the team. We specialize in treating OCD and trauma and addictions concerns. Although we see all manner of the human condition, we work a lot with helping folks that struggle with depression, anxiety, grief, and loss. So that is Ignite in a nutshell. In March, we moved a whopping 2 buildings down to stay in our same neighborhood in Westminster. So we have an expanded space. So we're pretty excited about just staying in the neighborhood. We love being able to host people in the community. And so it's been, I mean, like a flash. It's been 6 months and we're in our new space.
Yeah. Awesome. Good morning, Brian. Thanks for joining us. Right, Counselor. Are you back?
Yes, I'm back. Sorry. I don't know.
Okay. Okay, got it. Did you hear the question?
No, I'm so sorry.
That's okay. No, we had some technical difficulties there, I guess. So what inspired Ignite? What inspired the creation of it? And what makes you, what sets you apart from, other counseling services?
Yeah. So, what inspired me to grow the group was, I think I had mentioned, I knew that I wanted to be able to have a group with me. I did not want to do this by myself. I started as a solo practitioner and quickly became full with a wait list, and recognized that some of these specialties, there are very few of us that in the community of therapists that specialize in those areas and also take insurances. So part of our values is around accepting insurance and serving the underserved. So I think what you would find if you took a look in from the outside, or what sets us apart, we're really committed to expert quality care, compassionate care, but also accessibility. So when we're looking at obsessive compulsive disorder, we do not learn this in counseling graduate school, how to treat. That's a postgraduate specialization. And it's not a small part of our population. So we're finding that, folks can go up to 17 years is the average, actually, before getting a proper diagnosis. And often it's, there are folks that go to therapists who are well-intended and don't know, and they get misdiagnosed. And so there's a lot that goes into it. And being able to not just have that passion and specialize, but also accept folks' insurance is a really big deal. And accepting Medicaid is a really big value of ours. So I would say that sets us apart, the specializations plus accessibility. I think that, having different price points, frankly, having our students be able to take folks at a reduced rate, being able to accept insurance, but still also get really quality care is a differentiator for Ignite.
Yeah, definitely. What are some of the most common challenges people come to you with? And then how do you approach helping them overcome these challenges?
So we are recognized in the community for being able to treat OCD and trauma and addictions. And so folks can approach for a free consultation. I think it's really important, even from the outset, that they're not assigned a therapist. The therapist is not assigned the client. There is a mutual decision there. We're not a community mental health agency, so there's an ability for them to co-create that therapeutic alliance. So folks can find us and do, through our website, they'll do a Google search. They may call our main line and talk to the wonderful Mariah, who is our office clinic administrator. And then they get scheduled for that consult or consults to make sure that they have a great fit. And so that's how it usually begins. And our intake process kind of continues that theme of collaboration. We are not there to advice give. We are not, we really do believe that the person in front of us is the best knower of their experience. They're the experts on themselves. So we are here to add in some of the clinical support and really provide a compassionate safe, non-judgmental space, while also really holding steadfast their goals for therapy. It's not just a coffee chat. They're coming in to get support and a path forward for healing. So I would say that, clients of Ignite would explain to others who are asking, like, what's your experience like there? They would say, my therapist is my companion here on my healing journey. It's very much a collaborative thing.
Awesome. Thank you. And you kind of touched on this a little bit, but maybe a little more how you tailor your counseling methods to different individuals and what factors influence that approach.
Well, we really appreciate and utilize evidence-based modalities. And that's a whole bunch of psychology jargon. What that means is we utilize tools that are proven, have evidence of their efficacy. So we have all of these tools in our toolkit, but they don't apply to everyone. So I kind of view that as an individual. We do a tailored collaborative treatment plan with the client, and it's going to look individual as the person in front of us. It could be that we want to address some trauma with EMDR. We may want to work on OCD symptoms with exposure and response prevention therapy. There are lots of things that the team can pull from their toolkits. And it's important that folks know we don't just take the template and apply the template to everyone. That wouldn't work. We're all unique and some of many parts. So I would say, just in short, it would be we tailor that and we co-create the treatment plan and whatever tools might be pulled in there.
Got it. And have you seen in the last 4 years and probably throughout your career really an increase in some of the, like you mentioned OCD as being a common diagnosis. Have you seen an increase in these types of diagnoses, or do you think that if so, what do you attribute that to?
Yeah, great question. I have a colleague who I learned on how to treat OCD. And together we have created a business that's focused on training other clinicians on how to spot and treat OCD, because like I mentioned, we just don't learn it in school. Yeah. So a lot of folks go under or misdiagnosed. And so what she and I have noticed is, folks that may have had OCD prior to the pandemic, they may have been kind of, functioning, not necessarily, it's not really interfering with their lives. And then when COVID happened, there was so much collective fear. I mean, we just did not know anything. So we saw a sharp increase in mental health services, seeking mental health services in general. But with that population, folks that may have felt like they were functioning okay, there were many that then they became to a place where they were struggling more. Yeah. So, it could be attributed to many things. I don't think, the pandemic, the increase in mental health service seeking was, I think, a positive thing. And that folks were reaching out for support where they may have gone, maybe later. It became more of in the forefront. So I think it's positive. I don't think that there was an increase in these diagnoses per se, but it was, some of that where folks may have said, I'm fine. Then they were recognizing, gosh, I really do want to address this, and it's becoming more impactful in my life.
Yeah, I think my next question probably goes along with that. But in your experience, how has the conversation around mental health evolved, and how do you see it continuing to change in the coming years?
Oh, gosh. So I do think that, and something I just mentioned, the greater accessibility, I think, to mental health was one of the more positive byproducts of the pandemic, where it was more normalized. I also saw a change in accessibility through the normalization of what we're doing right here, which is, online and for us telehealth. So I think that, at least at Ignite, telehealth is going to be here to stay. And when I talk to other colleague group practice owners, they say the same thing, because it helps with accessibility for those that may not otherwise be able to drive down to an office. And so I think that is a trend, certainly that was normalized. And technology advanced to help people get to the telehealth platforms. I think that's going to be something as well. I'm definitely seeing an impact with the economy and where we're at right now, and more folks really wanting to be able to use their insurance benefits that they're already paying premiums for. So, there has been a shift of really scrutinizing how we are, which insurances we accept to make sure we have, a nice mix to offer to the community, and also balancing that with, recognizing that we need to have good reimbursement rates from these insurance contracts so that we can have livable wages for the team, and we can just keep doing this as long as we desire, right? And so we're in the community for a long time. So I'm seeing about, 4.5 years in, insurance companies were really required to approve telehealth, and services just, quadrupled. So utilization of benefits quadrupled. And these insurance companies are for-profit institutions with shareholders. And right now I'm starting to hear more, of these insurance companies that are kind of scrutinizing the providers more closely, because their shareholders are saying, okay, time to get those profits back after 4 years or so. So there's a greater utilization of insurance given the economy, and also there's some pressure from the insurance companies to us providers to around reimbursement rates. So it's an interesting balance.
Yeah, definitely. Can you share with us a success story or an example of how Ignite has made a significant impact in someone's life?
Goodness, my team is so lovely. There's so many success stories. Let me think of one that comes to mind here. We have had one that just came to my mind is someone that was actually unable to keep employed due to their OCD symptoms, and had started with Ignite, really in a place of a great impact in their life, in all of their domains. They lost their main relationship. They were pretty isolated, and came as a last ditch, kind of like, I'm on my knees. I need some support here. And so they worked with their therapist over the course of 4 to 5 months, I would say, was where there was a lot of skill building and relationship building, history taking with the therapist, because, we really uncover when there's something like OCD happening, and this was a 36-year-old, and had never been diagnosed and had never received treatment. And so while OCD is not caused by trauma, going all of those years of your life with it getting worse causes secondary trauma. So the therapist and this client worked to really just understand their story, understand the impact, give some time to actually honor the grief, and in order to get into the space of being able to do exposure and response prevention therapy. So ERP for short. is a really powerful modality, and it is considered the gold standard for working with OCD.
Okay.
So this therapist did a lot of psychoeducation for this client to explain this is a unique brain chemistry. There's nothing that you're choosing to do with this. And so ERP helps to kind of rewire in a more adaptive way. And so they engaged in ERP work, which has a nice structure to it. It's not a manual, but it's really nice and structured. Um, and it's designed to build some of that competency over multiple practices. So um, at I think it was like at month 5, this person was interviewing, obtained employment, were able to start to build their support system back in a healthy way, were taking care of themselves. And they're at the point now where they're doing tune-ups, they're doing a maintenance session. They know all of the tools. They're out living their life and functioning well and are happy and healthy. And so that's just one that just happened to come to my mind.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you for sharing that. So what role do you believe that mental health plays in a person's overall well-being, and how do you work with your clients to kind of foster both that mental and physical health?
Well, the team and I talk a lot about the fact that we're not floating heads. We are one vessel, right? So, as we might tend to, if we break an arm, we're going to go get help for that. We're not going to just say, "Oh, I'm just gonna let it be and see if it'll get better."
Feel this at home,
right? Yeah, I'll just put a Band-Aid on it.
Yeah.
And we try and normalize that with clients as well, that you're a whole complete system, mind, body. And so you deserve to take care of yourself holistically in that way. So just like we're not floating heads, when we're talking about their goals in therapy, for example, we're also talking about what's going on in the rest of their lives because they're not operating in a bubble. If they have never had a health physical, we're talking about that, we are encouraging them. We end up being part of a care team with, say, a psychiatrist and their physician, and, really making sure that they're taking care of all of that, including, the role that nutrition plays in our mental health. We had a wonderful colleague who is a registered dietitian and mental health therapist come talk to the team. And we're talking about that I think it's 90% of our neurotransmitters are in our stomach, in our gut, not in our brain like we think, right? And so those neurotransmitters are mood stabilizing and regulating. So if we have issues with our gut or we're not taking care of our nutrition, it's going to impact our overall well-being. So, again, I think we really talk about the whole person in front of us, and with curiosity and not judgment, we're exploring for them what does vitality mean and best health for them, and what's working well, what's not working well, and figuring out, how they can really optimize their overall health.
Yeah, awesome. And what are some key coping strategies or tools that you recommend to people that are maybe dealing with stress or anxiety? What are some kind of key things that people can do?
Yeah. I think that when I had started in my own therapy journey many years ago and was told you should journal, and I would roll my eyes. Oh my goodness. Okay, I'll journal. So here I am now on the flip side as a therapist myself. And what I will say is that there is evidence that our ability to take stuff up and out of our brain physically onto a piece of paper does the same, that it lights up the same areas of the brain as if we were actually engaging in that activity. So for example, if I have a conflict with someone and I'm not really able to resolve it with them directly, they could be somewhere else, across the country, across the world, if I do just a documentation, right? Like, here's what I would want to say. It gives me the same psychological benefit as if I actually had the chance to talk to that person.
That's amazing.
So, yeah. So I will say writing, getting it up and out. Maybe not the journaling word, if that makes too many people, like if you're like me and you rolled your eyes. Getting it up and out, I think, is a big deal.
Okay.
Another piece is some mindful breathing. So, we've seen an increase in anxiety, stress, panic attacks. And what we're experiencing in those moments is our polyvagal. So polyvagal theory talks about how our central nervous system is really intended to keep us alive. That's its job, and it hasn't really evolved much to our modern times, right? So it will go to fight, flight, freeze if we're under mental stress, and it will not differentiate between that or back when we were our cave ancestors being chased by a cheetah, right? So the polyvagal theory and mindful breathing allows us to get back into our regulated nervous system. And when we are under duress, we hold our breath, which deprives our brain of oxygen, which sends it into more of an alert that we're in danger. So again, I've heard the deep breathing and I'm like, oh gosh, okay, deep breathing. So there is, there are some YouTubes, quick tutorials that will show you different types of breathing to get you back into your regulated nervous system. I think those are great. I also like taking advantage of the beautiful place that we live and getting outside, even if that is a walk around the block. I think that that's very important in this era in particular, where we're doing a lot of work indoors for the most part, or we're going from our home to our indoor office and back and forth. So really just taking a pause can be enough to just give the nervous system a chance to relax.
Right. Awesome. Thank you. Those are some great tips. So we have just a few more minutes. What should people look for when they're choosing the right counselor and, for them personally, and how would they get started with Ignite?
I think that it's really important that you feel, well, one, that you, when you reach out, you're responded to. Even if, Ignite might not be the right fit, we're going to respond. So I think that's something you deserve. That's a right. And when you do reach out to Ignite or others, I really want you to be able to ask for what you need. So we share with prospective clients that it's brave to come and talk to, eventually we'll not be a stranger to each other, but sharing something very personal with someone who is currently a stranger is a real act of bravery and reaching out for support. So I think having a therapist that you consult with, I think you should be able to have a free consultation so that you can make sure that it's a good fit. And I hope that therapist is talking about what your desires are for your work and therapy, and getting to know more about you and about your goals. So that's my hope for anyone that's out and looking for a therapist. At Ignite, you can reach out, you can visit our website. We try and put as much of the good information out there. You can look at the team's bios. You can look at some of the topics that we treat. We try and keep a blog going with different relevant topics and conversations happening. So I invite you to peruse the website. There are a couple of ways in which you can schedule free consultations with the team. One is reaching out to Mariah, and that's going to be listed on the website everywhere where you can reach her. That's the main line. You can fill out the web form. So there's a schedule a free phone consultation throughout the pages on the website. You can grab that link, and that form also goes to Mariah. Or depending on if there are current immediate availabilities for consultations, some of the team will have a link on their bio page where you can direct schedule that free phone consultation. So a couple of different ways, to reach out and get connected with the team.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you being here with us today.
Thank you.
I think that a lot of people are going to be interested in this broadcast and how they can help themselves with their own mental health. So definitely appreciate it. And thank you for everybody who joined. Is there anything that you would like to say before we log out here?
I appreciate the conversation and the questions. And I'm excited to be part of the chamber. And thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah, we're excited to have you. All right. Well, thanks, everybody. Have a good rest of your week.